Jeni Elizabeth, the Hollywood stylist behind every it
fun and refreshed.
The great part about the trends this spring is that a lot of them are really easy DIY projects at home.
Nice. Right.
Celebrity stylist Jeni Elizabeth has joined us on the couch because we got to talk about the biggest category. It's the one that doesn't get an award.
And now Jeni comes to the Fashion TV network, where she'll make your Wednesdays fashionably mismatched. Here's Jeni.
Hi guys, how are you? Happy May. Today is May 1st. I'm super excited. I feel like this episode means a lot to me for many reasons, which I'll tell you about. But turning your closet into a bank, cash closet, like I can't think of a better thing. So I think my hope from this episode is that you guys walk away with some tips and tricks and apps to download and little things that maybe stick in your head about making you feel better concerning the money that you put into your closet, right? Like everyone always thinks, oh, I'm spending so much money on your clothes, on everything in there. And the hope from this is that you not only look at your closet as something that you spent a lot of money on, but something that you can also make money on. I myself have tried every single one of the things that we have listed today, and they all work. They all have pros and cons, which we'll go over. But at the end of the day, even, whether it's being a wife and your husband's on you for the amount of money that you spend on something and you only wore it a couple times and you don't necessarily have something that you want to wear it to again and you want to offload it, or you have children, and anyone who knows, any mom knows, you buy something nice for your child and it literally fits them for 3 wears, maybe a month. So it's nice to know little ways that you can get rid of those Air Jordans, or, offload those Tory Burch sandals, or, the Ferragamo dress you wore once. So I've really put a lot of time into this because the other aspect of it is that for stylists, many shows that you finish, you end up with a huge room of wardrobe. And obviously the hope is always that you're going to offer that clothing to the talent when they leave and let them take the first couple handfuls. The production company usually owns it. That said, they don't always want to spend the money on a storage area. So sometimes it's a nice feature for a stylist to say, listen, I have ways that I could maybe make you guys some money back for the money that you spent on production for the clothing. And also at the same time, not have you guys pay for storage or pay for the big buckets to keep them in or whatever. So that's always a nice thing as a stylist to put in your pocket. And one of these things at the very end has been super successful for me on sets. As I said, where I'm walking away with this huge, tub of clothing that they say, oh, we'll be in touch in a couple months to pick up the clothes once we wrap up, and then nothing. And then you have all these buckets in your basement. So with that said, I want to sort of jump right in because we have a lot to do here. So turning your closet into a cash bank. This is the deal. I just want you to know that this pertains not only to stylists for sets, but also obviously for the everyday, mom, wife, whatever it may be. Side hustles are really big right now. You go online and you see, every human is looking for a side hustle, right? Who doesn't want extra cash right now in this economy? So there are a lot of avenues to think about. But I think that even, just life being so expensive right now, this is an easy way. It's an easy side hustle. Selling your clothes is an easy side hustle to making side money, right? Grocery money, pay for those eggs that are $45. So that's it. Just extra money for you in your pocket. When we come back, I'm going to talk about how to do this, places to sell, the best and most lucrative way for you to do it without losing large percentages, without having to deal with nasty customer service, and the ins and outs of adding some money in your pocket. So I'll see you when we come back right after commercial.
There's a couple things I'd like to say to you. After all the crazy after all the crazy things that we've been through. I needed you in the dead of night, the wake of the day, first broken light. And blind I'd fall, I'd follow you. I never realized how much I needed you.
Comfort, what we deliver by delivering.
Welcome back. Okay, let's do this. I want you to grab a piece of paper and a pen and take note, right? I'm about to make you money. So let's talk about Poshmark. Okay, Poshmark, I feel like, is one of the more well-known avenues. It's a very simple app that you can download on your phone. There are definitely pros and cons to Poshmark. The most important thing I feel that I've seen, read about, and experienced myself are the photos and your honesty on this app. Okay. So if you have an Aviator Nation t-shirt that you want to sell and it has a little tear in the side or a little, pen mark on the arm, whatever it may be, honesty is really the key on this platform. Taking the picture, showing everything. I find that even if you think, oh, maybe I can't get this amount, and you're honest because, it does have that pen mark, people are more willing to pay the amount because you disclosed it rather than receiving it, getting that item, seeing that it's damaged in some way, and then they want their money back. So the pros of Poshmark are really you're determining, obviously, what items you want to list, and you're determining the price. I do think it's super important to research the item. One thing that I have found super successful is to take a picture of the item, download Google as an app on your phone, and Google image search that item. Okay, because it may have been $500 when you bought it or $125 when you bought it, but if you Google search it, you'll see what it's retailing for now, currently. And that, I feel like the buyers on Poshmark are very aware of that. So if you list a pair of Air Jordans that you bought for $250 and you list them for $250 and they're 2 years old, they're going to call you out on that. So being honest, Google searching your items is always great. You also have the ability about whether or not you want to sell it or not, right? So obviously you want to keep your ratings high, and a lot of this app is based on ratings, determining like the type of photos that you take, how fast you ship, how much you communicate with a buyer. And so it is important for you to keep up all of those activities, right? You have to stay on the app if you're actively selling. You've got to be aware and set your notifications to actually ding like a text message so you look. But that said, if at the last minute you decide, oh my God, I can't sell this, you can back out, which is a pro. You also have the ability to, when you receive the item, you can review it and make sure that you want to accept it. If, again, as I said, going back to you get a shirt and it has pen marks on it and you decided you don't want it, you can put that complaint in and refuse it and send it back, and you will not be charged. It's also, obviously, this is all like the whole idea of this is all sustainable, right? And ways to not, there have been many, we'll say rumors, that the Goodwill actually like burns stuff, right? And it's the pollution for the environment, the clothing dumps rather are taking over. So you can actually Google image search them and they're horrifying. So I think that these are, Poshmark is a good option to keep that item going. You may be done with it. You may have grown out of it. You may have worn it to your great event, but someone else hasn't. I will say quickly, the cons to this, to Poshmark, are you do have to deal with customers a lot. I know that I can think of one particular item that I had that I must have measured it 4 times for her. The fingertip to armpit, the inseam. It's always better to include all measurements right in the description. It's risky that you can't see the item, right? Like again, but as I said, you're not locked into the purchase. You will not be charged until you actually accept the item once it's in hand. The other con to Poshmark, and this is my biggest thing, is that it can sit for months. You have no idea when it's going to sell. So you could list something and a year later someone wants to buy it. And that's hard. If you're looking for money like quick and upfront, Poshmark is not the option for you. If you have a closet that you can pull things, list the things that you want to list and then store it separately. And like if it sells, great. If it doesn't, well, at least it's off to the side. Then Poshmark is the app for you. It's not instant cash. Also, you have to wait on the other person to decide whether or not they're going to buy it. And it is 20% per item as opposed to the entire sale. So you're paying Poshmark 20%. And some people think that that is a high amount to pay. So there are some cons to it. As I said, this is not quick cash. Moving on, The RealReal. I feel like The RealReal is a very controversial platform, right? Some people have great experiences, some people have bad. It's a luxury consignment. One of the great pros I will say about The RealReal is that if you're looking to get something that you want to make sure was authenticated, they have a very rigorous authentication process. I've been on the buying side and I've been on the selling side. It is very rare that you'll get an item that has not been authenticated, that they're not upfront about, doesn't come with all the licenses and the agreements. And so that is, on this avenue, a trustworthy, The RealReal, you can always bank on them for that. Also, they come to your home and pick it up. I've actually had many times, I have a sales lady named Emily, and Emily always follows up with me, hey, Jenny, I'm going to be in your neighborhood. Do you need a pickup? So not only do they remind you, but they send a driver to come and get it straight from your door. It's also a very big platform. They have a lot of eyes on their stuff. So it tends to go quicker than Poshmark. It is mainly designer labels, meaning I'm not sure that it's actually, pertains to people who are more doing, they're very specific about the labels that they take. They're not going to take the Gap. They're not going to take H&M. They're going to take higher end, whether it's Kate Spade or Valentino. They definitely want the higher end stuff. And so that is also makes this platform a little bit more exclusive, whereas Poshmark, you can list anything you want, any brand. I will say the cons to The RealReal, and this is the biggest con that I've heard across the board, is that they determine the price of your item and they determine if that item is going to go on sale. And there have been many people, I myself, who have sent in Christian Dior blazers, Chanel blazers, and I send it in knowing that I paid upwards of $4,000 for it, and then find out that they sold it on clearance for $145. Not only can they determine that, but they also do not have to notify you. So, pro tip, if you decide that you have items in your closet and you want to sell them to The RealReal, you need to actually put in writing, this item is not to go on clearance without my knowledge, without communicating with me. I want this set at this price. And you have to actually go back and forth. This isn't something that you can just throw to them and they trust that they're going to get you the money that you paid. There have been many people I know along the way that have been let down by this. Also, they only pay you the 15th of every month. So if they sell your $700 pair of shoes on the 16th, you're waiting a cycle to get paid, which again, it's not quick money. It can be faster than Poshmark for sure, but it's not quick money. And you're going to wait to receive the money until the 15th of every month. And they're not very flexible on that. There have been many people who have had bad experiences with The Real. I think, as I said, if you go into it with eyes open and you're very upfront about what it is that you want, the amount that you want, and your strict labels concerning the item that you're sending, I think you're okay. If that is not the case and you just sort of free willy-nilly send something in hoping to get the money that you spent, I don't think you're going to be happy. So The RealReal, something to consider. Also not an app. Poshmark, or you can't sell through the app. You have to actually go onto the website. Okay, ThredUp. So ThredUp has a very large selection of quality name brand items, right? Okay, so ThredUp is one of the options that I think is great to cleaning out your closet. I always like to do these things based on a closet clean out. Okay. What happens with ThredUp is they will send you a bag and you can fill the bag with everything that you want, everything that you pulled out of your closet after doing a major revamp, whether it was seasonal or you lost weight or whatever it may be. Pull everything out of the closet, put it in the bag. They send you the bag. Then you send the bag back. It's a bulk sale, which is great. It's not just top of the line designers. They will take, the whole range. They do have a couple websites, a couple designers, I should say, on their website that they don't want to accept. But other than that, it's a very broad-based spectrum. And they are fair to the pricing that they put on it. That said, cons that people have had for ThredUp, it is a long process. Usually from the time you get the bag until the time that they sell the items, goes around 32 to 40 days. So again, not a quick turnaround for cash. An option for sure, but not fast. The other issue is that once they get your bag, they have they have the ability to go through that bag and determine what they're going to sell and what they're not. So it's possible that you send 60 items, and then they say to you, we're going to sell, we think that 24 of these will resell. And if that's the case, you then have to decide, do you want them to mail it back to you, which will come out of your cost? Or are you just going to, leave it and dump it with them? I don't want it. If you think about what you're going to get, it's risk versus reward, right? Depending on the quality items, the designers that you send, if you sent them a whole bucket of the Gap, they're going to sell it. But for the items that they aren't, by the time they send it back, is it worth it? That shipping cost is going to come out. So things to think about for sure. Sellers also do a bit complain about their pickiness for the items that they choose. So I do think that ThredUp is a good option. Again, if you're not looking for quick money, it's an easy way to clean out your closet. I would say if you're shipping it to them anyways, let it go. So those are the first couple we're going to go over. When we come back, I'll have more for you. Let's take a commercial. I'll see you soon. Okay, so we've done ThredUp, Poshmark, Real. So here we are at Pickle. Now, I will say that Pickle is super fun, okay? Pickle is a peer-to-peer clothing rental. It's cheaper than Rent the Runway. Students love Pickle. It's an app you download. It is very big, I will say, in like New York, New Jersey, like the areas where you have schools, right? Colleges. But that said, they have many pros. You pick and choose the items, you set the amount you want to list it for. Obviously you're reducing waste, right? That goes without saying. You can, usually the rentals last from 4 to 7 days, but if you say to the person you want to go longer than 7 days, they'll do that. This is something that is instant cash, right? Because you do get paid as soon as the item is rented. Also, you can put an option to buy the item. So you can rent the Tory Burch sweater for $10 a day. And at the end of the day, if you decided that you loved it, you can buy it for $35. And they have had a very large success rate with that. So, this is a great platform. And as I said, Pickle is an app. You download it. They have same day service. You can say, I need this today. And, they can either ship it same day, or there's a concierge service that's attached to it that they can bring it to you. So I'm a big fan of Pickle. I think it needs to blow up more. I think it's great for students trying to make, a little side hustle while they're in school, renting their clothes. It's safe. It's fun. They have a very large variety. Obviously cons are the item could get damaged, right? They do have insurance options. But other than that, I feel like Pickle is a great option for you. So you should download the app and try it out. Lastly, I want to talk about auction, and I want to spend some time on this because this is one that usually when you think about auction, you don't necessarily think about auctioning your closet. And I have had a ton of fun with this. So my friend Sam introduced me to auctioning personal property. So personal property is obviously your closet. Usually when people think of auctions, they think of estate sales or, basement auctions or whatever. There are companies that do that. People don't normally think to auction their closet. So this was something that Sam brought to me that I started attaching to my closet clean out business, which I love. So the idea basically that I would go into anyone's home, clean out your closet, and then instead of putting it on Poshmark or giving it to the Goodwill or whatever, I would auction it. And basically that process consists of using a larger platform like Auction Ninja. You pay a very small fee. And you do the same thing as you would do on Poshmark. You photograph each of the items, you research it, you come up with a fair price. There are minimums that you can set. So, I do find that if you're auctioning something like the Gap or J. Crew, starting at $0 and not putting a minimum is really awesome. And you will see that it will go up. If you have, a Montclair jacket that you spent $4,000 on and you want to start it at $1,500, you can start the bidding process at $1,500. I will tell you that some people get deterred, right? They'll see like their items and call me and say, Jeni, I have this Kate Spade sweater on there and it's still at $0. That's good. You want actually, they specifically leave it at $0 because it's an auction, right? You want to get it for as cheap as you can. So the other fun avenue about auctioning your clothing is that at the very last minute, usually in the last like 24 hours, you start to see like, oh, there's a bid for $1. Oh, there's another one for $1. Oh, there's another $1 because people start creeping in, right? But they'll wait until the very last minute because they still want it to stay as low as possible. One thing I started doing, which is so awesome, is we would auction our closets. And then for the night that the auction went live, we would have a viewing party, which is so fun, right? Like you get a bunch of your girlfriends together, you can all put items on, you can mix and match it. And everyone has an item in there. And then at the very last couple minutes, it's like, the items just keep going higher and higher and higher. It's the same philosophy as, if you did an auction for, as I said, an estate or a garage. The other amazing process about doing an auction is that whether you hire someone to do it or you do it yourself, which you can do, you can go on Auction Ninja and you can register for an auction. You can do a personal property and pay a one-time fee if you don't want to register with them permanently. And you can auction everything in your closet and you can combine it with the stuff in your kitchen and the stuff in your basement. So you could literally auction your whole house, right? But the other fun part of auctioning the clothing or really anything is that you see the people who buy it, right? And they actually do a pickup. So you'll set a day where they come and you can either leave all the items outside for them or you can hand it off to them at the door, which I've done. And you meet the most incredible people that are so grateful. I've had women come to my door to pick up some of my son's clothes that I've had great success again with the kids auctioning the clothes. And one woman was in tears that she couldn't afford that suit, at regular price. And she was so excited to find it. That's just like a really nice, like kind thing to do. And I actually had my kids stand there with me when we did a kids closet auction. And my kids gave out their own clothes. And I thought that, it was definitely very humbling and it's a kind thing to do because the reality is that, are you going to get the $175 that you paid for the suit? No, probably not. Depending. You never know though. But also, you're probably going to get, depending on what type it's in, usually it averages about 50 to 75%. And it doesn't really matter. These people that are doing the auctions, they are less worried about what the trends are, when it was made and the dates. So an auction is really, I think, not only to get rid of a large bulk, it's a lot of fun. It's, you can list the auction in 3 days, close it, done, you're paid out. So it is a fast turnaround for cash. You have the ability to be anonymous if you're not crazy about saying, hey, I'm auctioning my items. And so that's, I think auction, obviously I offer the service, but I think it's a great way for people to make great cash, to meet great people and to turn around your closet and to do something good for the world. So with that said, I'm going to take a couple questions while I tell you about the tips and tricks, which I think we went over. You know, honesty, being honest about the disclosure of your item, if it's in good shape or bad shape, be prompt, stay on top of things with the communication, and add a little personal touch when you ship it, add a note. So that always, I feel like, adds something too. Shannon Smith, what about straightforward retail consignment stores? Some actually pay you on the spot, not even consignment. I prefer those. So yes, that's possible that they will pay you on the spot. Just be careful because obviously they're going to lowball you. And again, it's a risk of turning items away. So you could do that. Go to the consignment store, take, you know, whatever you want to take for the money that they're going to offer you, and then auction or Poshmark or whatever the rest of it. I think some of these are good backups. Hi, Haley. I think any of these resale companies are tough, whereas live selling online is going to be huge. Waiting for that to happen, maybe Fashion TV. So I think the auction is the closest to live selling. You're correct. That would be a lot of fun. FNT, right? Maybe Haley wants to be a part of it. Yes, I think, you know, as I say, I think auction is the closest thing to that right now. I think we'd have to make sure, obviously, that all the clothes were in great shape, right? Because if you're auctioning it live, it's risky. But you can also always go live on Instagram when you're doing this. So, you know, people often think it's like, oh, such a big process. And I've thought about going live a couple times and showing the prep of what it takes to do these things. It's really not difficult. And you're getting paid. Hi, Christine. How do you know that ThreadUp, for example, does not take one of your items, loses an item? Seems fishy. Yeah. There have been a lot of complaints about some of these. It's a risk you're taking, right? If you have something that really means a lot to you, that you have a certain amount of money you want to get it for, like, I would stay on it and do it as much as you can from your house. Hi, Christine. Still watching. Amazing show today. How informative. Thank you. Oh my gosh, you're so welcome. I want you guys to try some of these apps, right? It might be a quick way to make money for Mother's Day. They're a lot of fun and it's a quick turnaround and it's great for the environment. You know, as I said, like, you know, what is that saying? Like, one woman's trash is another woman's treasure, right? Like, I mean, you never know. And it really does make people smile. So take a chance and download some of these apps. It also, like, you know, I have a husband that's like, really, you're buying more jeans? I have a friend that has 46 pairs of jeans. Like, she doesn't need 46 pairs of jeans. So you can also appease your husband by saying, oh my God, I sold these things. And he'll see you sort of mailing them out or doing the auction. And then he's more likely to allow you to get more. So I hope you guys learned some of these tips and tricks and you put them in your back pocket. Try them out and let me know how they went. Next week, I'm super excited. Day to night. Dressing made simple for moms. It's almost Mother's Day. Also Pepper's birthday, my daughter. Of course I share Mother's Day with her. So I'm excited about next week. Just focusing on how to take your outfits and turn them from day to night very quickly. Also a money saver, right? And it is sometimes that simple, just adding a pair of pumps or some accessories. So I'm going to show you the easiest, cheapest ways to do that, to focus in on moms for next week's episode. And so that's it. As I said, please let me know what you guys think. If you downloaded some of the apps, if you made some money, I want to know. I think it's great. They're a lot of fun. Do a viewing party. Get, you know, a bottle of wine and have fun with it. Make some popcorn. Know that you're, you know, turning sustainability. You're making someone else smile with something that they might not have been able to afford full cost. You're turning things around in your closet, keeping you happy by getting out with the old, in with the new, and you're doing good for the world. So try it out. I'll see you next week. Have a great week. Bye, guys.
Omar, look. Omar, check this out. Hi, yeah, I was calling to see if you do laser hair removal for men. Notice that my hips are off the ground? And then I'm gonna pike my hips back into downward dog. Hey, the rain stopped.
A bad day on the road still beats a good one off it.
Tell me about that dinner procedure again! I can still taste it in my mouth.
Progressive helps keep you